على روح عبد الله آدم سلام عليكم يا أئمة الرشد. We give thanks to Allah the Almighty who has spared our lives till this moment. We glorify Him. We most humbly beseech Him to continue to guide and guide every one of us, beloved brothers and sisters in Islam. I say, may the peace, blessings, and mercy of Allah be upon each and every one of us. Permit me to stand on the already established protocols. It is not often very easy to talk when you have an oppressor sitting beside you. I don't know whether he is into anything fetish. I just knew that somebody called me on Tuesday and I felt it was juju, you know. So because they just came and said, you are coming to Abuja on Friday. Normally I would have said, for what? I just had myself saying, when is my flight? And I knew, okay, this must be juju. Because I have not recited my azkar that morning. Imam Fuad is ayatun min ayatillah. It's one of the signs of Allah. We've been together for almost 40 years and still looking so young. And I've asked him to show me the formula, but till date he has avoided that. When he invited me, traditionally I could refuse, but he is someone you wouldn't want to refuse because he would never invite you into any frivolous thing. Naturally, every one of us who have had the opportunity of meeting him love to be associated with what he does. So if there is no strong reason, I don't think I have any moral justification to say, no, there is no time. Because if you're not involved in such meritorious acts, you will be involved in so many other things that may not be as meritorious. So I want to thank him for inviting me. It's not because there are no people they could invite. It's just that a very long time ago, when none of us knew what Allah was going to do with us, we had established a bond. And in most of his programs in the South, even before AL-HABIBIYYAH went into all these other programs, I have had the opportunity of coming to AL-HABIBIYYAH once or twice, in the past to give talks. And because you know that this is that time you start seeing the manifestations of those dreams and visions he had when he was in school. He had always been very consistent, though naughty, but he was he had been very, very consistent. You all know he's naughty now, so it's not something fun. It's not fun. So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in Islam, AL-HABIBIYYAH has taken it upon itself to produce a sermon guide for imams. The first time I saw the material, I felt, is this not an insult? You want to guide imams whose primary vocation is delivering sermons. You want to guide them on sermon. When I went through the contents, I feel it is necessary to deconstruct the material so that the imams will take it for what it is. Nobody is teaching you anything. So the intention behind the material is not to teach you. The intention is to give you an idea. It's a kind of motivation, check you into an awareness of the challenges ahead. So nobody is bound by the 10 lectures in this material. You are not going to shackle yourself with it. You are not going to tie your hands with it. But it shows you areas into which you can go. From a particular topic, you could develop 10 different lectures. And that's what our chef is going to tell you, and a part of what I'm going to discuss with you. Many years back, an old man was was involved in the job of a lumberjack. He was a lumberjack cutting timbers for a company. And he had worked in the company for about 25 years. He was living fine, but he felt he wasn't earning enough. So employed a young man. And the tradition of the company is that you get paid in accordance with the amount of, or the number of timbers you are able to fell. So, the man discovered that the young man got better paid at the end of the month. He was surprised. He decided to resume earlier than the boy in the following month. And a boy aged more than him. So it's just coming out of the work of his mom, and you see, he's earning so much. And the people said, okay, the boy, have you changed my? You ask the boy how he does it. And the man went to the boy, the young man, pried into something that does not concern me, but please guide me. How is it possible that you, despite the fact that you only work for 4 or 5 hours, you are able to cut more timbers than me? And the first question the boy asked him was, sir, when last did you sharpen your axe? When last did you sharpen your axe? So the intention now is not to teach you anything, but to sharpen your axes. Brothers and sisters in Islam, that is what AL-HABIBIYYAH intends to do. You are the professionals, you are the ones involved in delivering khutbah upon khutbah, on Fridays, on various other occasions, wedding ceremony, funeral ceremonies, akika, naming ceremonies. So on so many munasabat you've always been giving talks. But how often have you sharpened your communication skills? How often have you sharpened your axis, the intellectual axis and the verbal or communicative axis? That is the challenge. So AL-HABIBIYYAH is not and will never try to teach you because we are well taught already. But they can show you pointers, they can draw your attention to those things you need, which you probably do not attach importance to or you have ignored. Beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, I actually thought I would be able to, that we shall be having a PowerPoint presentation last night, I think around midnight. That it just occurred to me, I was looking in the hotel room there, it just occurred to me, I said, okay, let me just put it together in a PowerPoint presentation. But this morning I got to know that we wouldn't be having access to any projector. So we have requested that they print it out and make photocopies so that you can flow with me. There are 10 topics here. And these 10 topics cover those areas you have gone through during the various training sessions we've had. It focuses on accountability and transparency as important appurtenances of the fight against corruption. So it begins with attitude or Islamic attitude to the anti-corruption struggle. But what is corruption? I want the session to be interactive, because over time we've discovered that what you consider to be corruption is not seen as corruption. It's a relative term. What you consider to be corruption is not seen by another person as corruption. And we had a president in Nigeria who said stealing is not corruption. It's one one of the funniest things I've ever had. But stealing is not, that is a way of thinking. And when you do not see that something is wrong, it is, it becomes very difficult to fight it. If the man at the end of affairs believes that stealing is not corruption, then there is a big problem. Students of contemporary English literature, if you have had the opportunity of studying the 17th century literature, you will know of Samuel Butler, who wrote a book titled Everyone. Everyone is nowhere, written inversely, written from behind. Everyone, that is nowhere. And what did he portray in the book? He portrayed the 17th century English society, the society of England in the late 17th century. In the book, he narrated the story of a boy who was taken. The boy was taken to court because his parents died and his uncle usurped all of his father's properties. Who should have been charged to court? It wasn't the uncle. They said, no. For you to have allowed your inheritance to be stolen by another person, you must be flogged, and he was given 100 strokes of a cane. A man was taken to court because another man slept with his wife. Because another man slept with his wife and they arrested him. Are you aware of the fact that this man slept with your wife? He said, yes, and I've driven the woman out. So I said, no, that's not the solution. You should have fought the man and killed the man. You should have fought the man and killed him, because it is wrong for you to allow somebody to sleep with a woman. So what was it trying to tell us? It was trying to tell us that everything was upside down. That the person who should be rewarded will be punished. The person who should be punished will be rewarded. That was the situation. And that, when you start seeing corruption in different lights, this is the result you get. And you remember very well, you are scholars of Islam. You know the Prophet ﷺ once said, he addressed the companion. He said, when he was talking about al-amru bil ma'ruf wal-nahyu anil munkar, when he was talking about enjoining what is good and forbidding what is bad, the Prophet ﷺ drew the attention of the companions to one of the challenges we're going to experience in the later days. And this challenge is one of the ways out, because most of the problems we are experiencing emanated from this, from our refusal to do al-amru bil ma'ruf and nahyu and the munkar. The Prophet ﷺ said, ماذا بكم إذا لم تأمروا بالمعروف ولم تنهوا عن المنكر. And the companion said, أيكون ذلك يا رسول الله? And the Prophet ﷺ replied, نعم وشر من ذلك. He said again, ماذا بكم إذا أمرتم بالمنكر ونهيتم عن المعروف. And the companions replied, أيكون ذلك يا رسول الله? And the Prophet ﷺ said, نعم وشر من ذلك. He said, ماذا بكم? In another riwayah, it is كيف بكم. He said, ماذا بكم إذا رأيتم المعروف منكرا والمنكر معروفا. Let me translate. I have not translated it. The Prophet said, كيف بكم أعمالكم? How will your condition be? What will be your condition? إذا لم تأمروا بالمعروف, when you do not enjoin what is good, ولم تنهوا عن المنكر, and you do not forbid what is bad. And the companion said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, can that happen?" He said, "Yes. A worse situation will happen." He said, "Okay, what can be worse than that?" He said, "What will be your condition when you now enjoin what is bad and you forbid what is good?" He said, "Oh, can that happen?" He said, "Yes, a worse scenario will happen." So what is it again? He said, "What will be your condition? إذا رأيتم المعروف منكرا والمنكر معروفا." When your vision becomes so distorted that you see good as evil and evil as good. When you see evil as good and good as evil. These are 3 stages. At the time, those of you who are charged with the responsibility of bringing about a reformation in the society, when you refuse to do it, you know what is good, you just refuse to invite towards it. Maybe out of laziness, out of having a carefree attitude, or because you have some personal interests at stake. You refuse to preach what is good. You know what is good, but you refuse to preach it. And you know what is bad, you refuse to exhort against it. The second stage is when you know what is good, but you preach the opposite because of selfish purposes or reasons. And you know what is bad, you encourage it because you want to gain something from it. But the worst scenario is the last one, when evil is seen as good and good is seen as evil. And we have witnessed all. We have witnessed all. We have seen supposed scholars kindling the fire of fitna everywhere. We have seen those in positions of authority engaging in shameless acts. We have seen the so-called custodians of morality engaging in the worst kinds of immorality. We have seen the institutional representatives of God perpetrating a lot of atrocities in the name of God. And you still want to ask yourself, is there any hope for this country? Look at the charade we had during the last election. I actually thought nobody would go to church again. Honestly, I told Imam Fuad yesterday, I said, if I had been a Christian, I would have said bye-bye to Christianity. Because the people I respected as the oracle of Christian truth, spoke, and Allah said, "You are liars." They told us that Allah informed them that this is going to be the result. And we discovered that the opposite was the result. That means Allah did not inform them. Allah did not communicate with them. But that was what happened. But you will be surprised the following Sundays, the churches were full. Oyapelome is a bloody politician. If I listened to the earlier, when he was now trying to pull himself out of the guy, I said, "Look at this guy. Are we all fools?" And I said, well, maybe because they have tied these people down. You know Tunde Bakari? Tunde Bakari, during the primaries, APC primaries, he said President Muhammad Buhari, that was about 2 weeks before the primaries, the President Muhammad Buhari is the 15th president of Nigeria, and yours truly will be the 16th president of Nigeria. So that's interesting. And he came to Eagle Square. Where he got the 100 million there, I don't even know. He came to Eagle Square and got only 1 vote. That is the one he voted for himself. Got only 1 vote. In the primaries, and he got to Lagos, come and see crowd welcoming him at the airport. I said, these people are in bondage. If there are no supernatural chains to change that, I don't think people are. It's not normal. It's not rational. Muslims will never do that. You know Muslims. Even when you just misbehave once, they start people are fasting you. And you know the difference? This is because we belong to the only rational religion. It is only in Islam that you see إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون إن في ذلك لآيات لأولي الألباب. It is only in Islam that it addresses your intellect. It addresses the rush. You are not expected to accept it. In fact, reasoning reflection. Reasoning is a part of, in fact, it's a condition for entering Al-Jannah. وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير. That is the condition. If you are not rational, you will not embrace Islam. You won't stay with it. That's why, without you becoming, even if you do not practice Islam well, Christianity will not appeal to you unless you don't think at all. If you are the thinking type, you would rather remain without a religion. Even if they may be because some Muslims have been misbehaved and you want to be associated with them, you will just decide to be without religion. That is the truth. You see, there are times from March people, you get very good information. One of these secret cult guys at the Lagos State University was drunk. In the public, he was drunk and was hitting one of his friends. To hell with you, you're telling me Jesus is God. Are you crazy? How can Jesus be God? He was drunk and he was shouting. Are you crazy? Are you trying to tell me that Mary carried God in her belly? And he said, you don't understand. He said, shut up. You're stupid. Go and tell. That is only for mad people. Okay, because you think I'm drunk. I'm not drunk. But what you're saying is so stupid. We were just watching. And the boy said, now, Jesus Mary gave birth to Jesus, and he would have breastfed Jesus. He said, so God was suckling breast, eh? Is that God? Okay. And he would have poo-pooed and wee-weed. So you're telling me God poo-pooed and wee-weed? We were just laughing. So he wasn't a Muslim, he was not even interested in Islam, it was not because of any Islam. But it is stupid. So you are telling me God, no. That one was trying to say, shut up. God poo-pooed, God wee-weed. How are you trying to tell me that? You see, because this is the truth. This is the truth. This is the truth. This is the truth. And it's the only perfect faith tradition. It is even there in the earlier scriptures. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 9. The Bible tells us, for you know in part and prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, all those in part will come to an end. And in the book of Hebrews chapter 6, verse 1, the Bible says, let us leave behind the elementary principles of Christ and go to perfection. But where is that perfection? Today I have perfected your religion for you. So, beloved brothers and sisters, we are on the path. May we not derail. So, AL-HABIBIYYAH has drawn our attention to these. So, I go back to my earlier question. What is corruption? Who's going to define corruption for me? Don't open the door. What do you understand corruption to be? Check. Yes, let me start from here. Okay. What is it? Only this one. And just, okay. It says any act of dishonesty is by a believer. What of by a non-believer is by everybody. Any act of dishonesty, that is corruption. Yeah. Any other person? One of the sisters? Okay? Any act of fraudulent practices, embezzlement, okay? That is corruption. Okay, what is it against? Michelle?
Anything that is done on unusual way.
Anything that is done, please underline that definition. Anything that is done in an unusual way. Okay? Who again? What is
moral corruption? It's not only when you steal that is corruption. When you misbehave, you don't obey God's principles.
When you steal, is that not misbehavior? Okay. Who again?
Any act of dishonest.
Any act of dishonesty, that's what the brother here said. You are supporting him, that's good.
Distrust.
What?
Distrust.
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 Unjust.
D-E-T-R-U-S.
Or distrust.
No, he said D-E, I said distrust. He said no. Yes. Okay. Is only one. Okay, you want to collate now. Okay. So, distrust. Okay, who else?
Unjust.
Okay, injustice. Okay, who else? Who else? Now, if you are asked now to give talks on corruption, you have just given me about 5 different ways of looking at it. I can just come in from the angle of my brother here and my sister there of honesty, which means you will emphasize the truth. You will emphasize trust. You will emphasize sincerity. You will be talking about that. It's a pure moral approach. If I decide to follow my father here, he has given us the primary meaning of corruption. He has used a word which I don't really agree with and unusual, but I understand the intention. Because corruption means primarily something that is okay and you change it from what it was, from the pure state to an impure state. And that's what Baba was trying to say. You know, that is why it is called facade in Arabic. Facade, something that was good, and you change it, you alter it. Something that is beautiful, you stain it. So it becomes unnatural. So Baba now says, when you do something in an unusual manner, that is an accepted manner, it is usual. That is the accepted. And you now change it, you have corrupted it. Is it clear? That is is an approach. Somebody talks about trust. You can view it from the area of amana. We have agreed the dignity of a man is in his being trustworthy. Everybody puts their trust in you, and you betray that trust. And my sister referred to injustice. Injustice is also a kind of corruption. When you do things you shouldn't do. Somebody deserves deserves this bottle of seaweed, and you decide to give him a bottle of ogogoro. You are unjust to the person. When you give him something he does not deserve, whether something below what he deserves or something more than what he deserves. Is it clear? So you will have different approaches to it. But in this book adopts three main approaches. The first one, the book approaches it from the theological perspectives. What is Allah's position? Allah talks about corruption, talks about facade, and in fact it is in line with what Baba said. Spreading corruption on earth is spreading those things that are different or that do not agree with what Allah has established. That is Allah's model is the ideal model. The moment you change that model, it is corruption. You have corrupted it, you have altered it. Allah's model of human relationship and to get married. That is corruption. The moment Allah's model is that a man requests permission before going into each other. So the moment you do that outside legal marriage, it is corruption, because you are following the model of animals, not the model Allah has laid down for men. Allah will not punish an animal if an animal gives birth to a male child now. Within the next few months, the male child will start climbing the animal. The animal has no case. I'm talking about climbing the mother. Nobody is going to, Allah will not, because that is the model for animals. So when you do it outside wedlock, that is corruption. It is the model for animals. The model, Allah's model for men, for human beings, is that it must always be done within the protective toga of matrimony. So everything that is different from Allah's model is corruption. So the fatra, or what is called the fitra, the natural state which Allah has created, is the pure state. The moment you change it, it becomes an act of corruption. Every human soul is inviolable. Every human soul is haram. You cannot kill. You cannot kill. The only person who deserves to be killed is the person Allah has declared that such and such person, when he does this, deserves to die. So anything outside that is corruption. Is it clear? Is it clear? So the sermon guide offers us three approaches. The first approach is the theological, which I just explained. The second approach is the parental approach. That is based on the assumption, no, not assumption, that's based on the premise that the home, the family, the home is the theater of moral rejuvenation. The society largely depends for its moral impetus on the family. If the family is good, the environment will be good. And if all environments are good, the nation will be good, and entire mankind will be good. So the family is the microcosmic image of the universe. The universe starts from the home. So the second approach is that you want to fight corruption, you start from the home. And the journey towards establishing a home begins at the time you are choosing a spouse. You don't just start praying for a good family. Start praying for good children when you have not married a good man or a good woman. You now start praying. You start praying, Allah should give me a good home, and I have not married a good man or woman. Allah has his model, and that's the model he gave the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the prophetic model. The Prophet told us, this is the kind of woman you should marry. These are the kind of men you should marry. When you consider other things other than the prophetic considerations, what do you expect? The Prophet ﷺ said, that's failure. Our father said, failure. That's what you should expect. Where you have not planted a thing, what do you want to harvest there? You have planted nothing and you want to harvest. If you want to harvest what is good, plant what is good. That is just it. Plant what is good. Marry a good man. Marry a good woman. When you tell a lady you want to introduce somebody to her, she doesn't ask me whether he's a good Muslim. She says, is he handsome? Is he loaded? Loaded with what? Money. And you ask the boys, and boys are crazy over so many things now. You get yansh. I mean, you get yansh. Or you say, she get Bakassi or Chelsea. You know what they mean? Do you know? No, the girls will know you. Now the young men will know. I'm asking the babas, you know what they mean? Chelsea and Bakassi. You know, Barcelona, and then we call them Baka. She get Baka and Chelsea. Chelsea is the chest. Barcelona, Baka is the back. So what do you expect? When we become so stupid, so frivolous, you do not consider what Allah has asked you to consider, and you want the best results. Why do you want to gain from where you have invested nothing? And some people will now say, yeah, and you see now, when they start having problems in their marriages, and you see now, I have checked, I looked for, I considered it now, I considered the 4 things the Prophet asked us to, I said, the Prophet I did not ask you to consider 4 things. That is the adulteration of the hadith. The Prophet never said marry women because of 4 things. It is mabniyun al-majhul. It is in the people generally marry on some for wealth, for beauty, for family ties, but and some for religion. As the Prophet said, As for me, oh, those of you who are my followers, marry women because of their religion and good conduct. Period. Not because of any other thing. For you, in order for us to understand better, the Prophet said, "Man tazawwaja imra'atan limaliha, lam yazid Allah illa faqra." Whoever marries a woman solely because of her wealth, Allah will increase his poverty. وَمَنْ تَزَوَّجَهَا لِعِزِّهَا لَمْ يَزِدْهُ اللَّهُ إِلَّا ذُلًّا. Whoever marries her because of her honor, because of her social status, because of the status of her family, Allah will increase his humiliation, his wretchedness. وَمَنْ تَزَوَّجَهَا لِأُصْلِهَا. Whoever marries her because of her beauty, لَمْ يَزِدْهُ اللَّهُ إِلَّا دَنَاءً. Allah will no doubt increase his ugliness. وَمَنْ تَزَوَّجَهَا لِدِينِهَا. But whoever marries her because of her religion, because of the beauty of her conduct, which conforms to the teachings of Islam, بَارَكَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ وَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ لَهَا فِيهَا. فوالذي نفس محمد بيده ولأمة خرماء سوداء ذات دين أفضل. And the Prophet said, I call to witness, he in whose hand is my hand, is my life. A slave girl who is deformed, who is very black and ugly, is better in the sight of Allah than a beautiful girl who is faithless. That's here and there, running after beautiful girls. It is not a crime to marry a beautiful lady if she has what it takes. But your first consideration, the most important consideration, in fact, the beauty of a woman is in her iman, and vice versa. And the Prophet ﷺ addressed parents, إِذَا أَتَاكُمْ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقَهُ فَزَوِّجُوهُ وَإِلَّا تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ. The Prophet ﷺ said, "O men, O fathers, when a young man or when a man whose religion and conduct please you comes to seek the hand of the daughter, give the daughter in marriage to him. Otherwise, there will be fitna on earth." So that's where the journey starts from. Choosing the right partner determines the kind of parent. You marry a girl who is from a bad background. What you don't have, you cannot give. She cannot give your children the training she does not have. And there is this stupid notion in the heads of boys and girls. That is, I'm going to change him. I call it, I will change him syndrome. I will change him. And then I ask you, with whom are you in love? Are you in love with this girl as she is now, or the girl she's going to become after you might have changed her? Are you in love with this boy as he is now, or what he will become after you might have effected your stupid change? For God's sake, wake up. We want to stop corruption, build anti-corruption instincts from the home, in your own conduct and in the formal training you give your children. Reward hard work, reward diligence, reward what is good. Ignore, in fact, eschew all forms of corrupt actions in speech, in conduct in general, in the way they relate with others. Eschew it. Keep it out of the home. Do not allow them. You monitor the kind of friends, the kind of company they keep, and they grew up within that structure. Whatever Islamic persuasion you belong to, you are a Sufi, you are a Tariqa, you are Izala, you are Salafi. The fact is we are all united by Allah and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So wait, let your children, if the values you meet in the Sufi circle is not different from the values you meet in the Salafi circle, and in this, even there are those who are neither Sufis or Salafi or anything. If the values are the same, because we are all human, and we should be the same, because the values come from only one source, and that is Allah through Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Shekina, nothing else. Every other coloration you give to it, that's your own personal orientation of that is the diversity in us as human beings. But it doesn't change the fact that we all have Islamic identities. And we get distracted. We get distracted and we start running after frivolous things, attacking ourselves, when the fundamental task for which we're all going to account to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment are there. So, in this book, they have drawn our attention to the parental challenge. And the third, they gave us only 3, and you can multiply it. And the third they drew our attention to is social justice. The absence of social justice naturally breeds corruption. The absence of social justice naturally breeds corruption. What is social justice? Can anybody define social justice? Social justice, al-adalat al-ijtima'iyya. Can anybody? Yes. Barakallahu fiki ya ukhti. That's in fact, one of the most beautiful definitions of social justice I've ever heard. Very simple, and I'm direct to the point. The justice, your rights as a citizen, rights you should naturally take for granted. You don't need to beg anybody for it. Because you are a citizen of this nation, you should naturally have access to it. You know, in Nigeria, very few people worship Allah. We don't worship God here. We only pray to God. Nigeria are super. You see, this is one of the problems we have in English language. You say when somebody plays, you say it's a player. Is it not so? When somebody prays, it shouldn't be a prayer. Shouldn't it be a prayer? He said, now, we pray, we only pray. I don't know how I will call somebody who prays now, a devotee. Somebody who prays. They don't. In Nigeria, you pray for everything. You pray. You are not in Lagos. You pray. May I not fall into traffic? May I not? You pray that let there be light when I get home. You pray for everything. Things you should naturally take for granted. May they pay our salary at this month end. You shouldn't be praying for that. These are things that it's your right. These things are your right. Social justice, okay, you go to school. Okay, you go to school. I visited a friend in the US. He's a Canadian Muslim. And that was in 2007. He came to pick me at the airport in St. Louis, state of Illinois, very close to Chicago. He came to pick me at the airport and he told me, you know what? I said, what? He said, I lost my job this morning. I was mad. What? You lost your job? You see, I was thinking that this is unfair. You know, as a Yoruba man, I started thinking, will you not be thinking that the day you guys came, that is the day I lost my job, you know? You have bad legs. Yeah, as Yorubas will say. They say you have bad legs. How come that is the day you no, no. I've forgotten that it's not in Nigeria. Just speak me. He was behaving as if nothing has happened. And we got home. His wife prepared food. We ate. So at around 2 a.m. I woke him up. I said, Khalid, let's pray. He said, for what? He said, for what? I said, for God's sake, you just lost your job. And he said, what? I didn't really, I said, okay, maybe it was 2. And I started my tahajjud. So when it was around 4 a.m., I went to wake him in. Khalid, let's pray. He said, Saeed, what exactly is your problem? I said, you just lost your job. He said, so what? I'll get another job. I said, what if you don't get it? Then I'll go to the Social Security office to collect subsistence allowance. Yes. Because he lost his job, they will give him subsistence allowance every month till he gets another job. That is social justice. In order to make corruption unattractive. So corruption will not be attractive to you. I said, wow, country different from country. So that is social justice. So this book draws attention of the government to the issue of social justice. Students of sociology, anthropology, and political science know what is called a social contract. The social contract that AL-HABIBIYYAH is what binds us together as a society. There are 2 types of social contract. The first one is called pactum unionis, the pact of togetherness, that we all come together within a defined territory. We all come together within a defined territory as citizens. Okay, you live here, I live here, I'm not going to disturb you, you're not going to disturb me. That is one. But the strongest social contract is the second one, the pactum subjectionis. That is the pact of governance. That all of us come together, we now release our powers to a group of individuals to rule us. They will rule us and we will make the society governable for them. They are the symbols of the society, they are the leaders. They are to take care of us, give us our duties, and give us our rights within the society. And we will make sure that there is no problem in the society. So when the people who are ruling do what is right, the society is generally peaceful. But when the society does not take care of you, you become an enemy of the society. And you know what corruption can do? It takes lives. It destroys system. One man's corrupt act can destroy a whole nation. The corrupt man of the corruption of an aeronautic engineer can lead to a plane crash. Can lead to a plane crash. A man decides to compromise the standard of materials to use in the construction of the house, can lead to the collapse of the building, claiming several lives. The corruption of one medical doctor in the procurement of equipments, you know what it will cost. You know the corruption of people who were given money to buy arms for the Nigerian army to fight against Boko Haram. What happened? Thousands of lives were lost because the money was diverted. Soldiers too were killed. So, when there is social injustice, it becomes attractive to be corrupt. You do not have you have a job, it's not enough to capture to tie down your greed. Before you realize it, when they give you a ram, and a ram is very delicious. When they give you a ram, you taste it, okay, I'm not going to do it again. But the thing is delicious. You suddenly discover, Okay, after this time, I won't do it again. Gradually, it becomes a part of you. It defines your personality. So, it is therefore very necessary to make sure that there is social justice. Where there is social injustice, there will always be problems. Okay, then let them share it now. Let's quickly go through because I've already eaten too deep into Sheikh's time.
Okay,
Share it now. Maybe 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 as the case may be. Yes. So, okay, are we together now? Yeah. From the beginning, learning objectives. I raised some questions. What is the main theme of the sermon guide? We've gone through that. That is transparency and accountability. What is the essence of the sermon guide? We've done that. Main topics treated. That's what we're trying to examine. Main topics treated. Approaches to the topics. 5 W's and H paradigm. Tips for deconstructing the work. Exercises and summary. What is the main theme of the book? It is a form of religious communication on accountability and transparency. And I just tried that to talk about what communication is. That is the transfer of information, knowledge, or what have you to another person or a group of persons. It can take the form of one-to-one or one-on-one communication, group discussion. It can even take the form of body gestures. Yeah. What is the main thing? Now we talk about definitions of corruption, the basis of anti-corruption efforts in Islam. You have corruption is almost multi-dimensional. In fact, it embraces all phenomena. It embraces all phenomena. You talk about corruption of faith, corruption of the self, corruption of family, environment, space-time reference, and corruption of attitudes. And we talk about the Islamic approaches to anti-corruption. I said according to this book, there are 3. You have the theological approach, that is when we talk about the restoration of true faith. We talk about parental approach, that is addressing the landslide in family life. Then we talk of social justice and punitive measures, that is provision of basic needs and enthronement of reward system, punishments and gratification. That's what we are discussing. When you find yourself in a situation whereby nobody rewards diligence, when you do not reward hard work, when you do not reward positivities, people will be attracted to negativities. In such a way, we are in the society, whether in the mosque and the churches, when you put well-known criminals on the high table, you are telling the youth that you want them to be like this. You are setting these people up as models for the youth. When you know this person has a very bad report. It has a very bad, it is notorious for so many things. It has very bad reputation. And you now place him on the high table as a special guest of the Ummah or of Christendom. You are telling the Muslim and Christian youth that you want them to become like this. So naturally, they will say, okay, I also want to be on that item one day. And we'll follow the example of the man you have celebrated. When you celebrated, we celebrate well-known groups. That's what happens. And when people get away, you have a system under which people get away with criminal activities. Somebody does what is wrong and he gets away with it. you are saying that the system should not be respected, shouldn't be honored. It was John Locke that said that every man is a potential criminal. A man is only law abiding when the society takes care of him. When the society does not take care of you, you become an enemy of the society. And that's why we refer to crime as antisocial act, anti-society. You become an enemy of that system because the system does not take care of you. And you remember the Prophet ﷺ gave us an example. I'm going to narrate a personal example. The Prophet ﷺ gave us an example. The Prophet ﷺ said, he talked about people traveling in the boats. Fastahabu, they cast lots. The lot of some, when you travel in a boat on the sea, and the boat has a double deck. There is an upper deck and there is a lower deck. Ordinarily when such a boat is on sea, the lower deck is inside water. It is only those at the upper deck that will see water because they are standing on the upper deck. And the Prophet said, those at the lower deck, anytime they needed water, they tell those on the upper deck. And those on the upper deck will just cast the blue nadal, and they will cast their buckets into the water and give those people in the lower deck to drink. And the pregnant do not give those people at the lower deck water. Or the water they give them is not enough for them. Why do we have to disturb these people? We are closer to the water. Why not let us make a hole in this water and in this boat and get the water for them? The Prophet said, if they do that, all of them will die. All of them will be destroyed. And that is exactly what we are experiencing in the country. May we not experience it again. Inshallah, we shall. Let's just continue to pray. The new dispensation will be better, inshallah, in so many ways, because that is the pride of Islam. That is the pride of Islam. And I will assist them by Allah, by His grace. So, you see, it's a big challenge when the society does not take care of the people in the lower round of the society. That's what happens. They threaten security. You cannot travel at any time, anyhow. It is even easier now, and it is worse now. But insecurity has been gradual, because the experience I had was a long time ago, in 1990. 1990, that is 33 years ago. During my youth service in Casina, during my youth service, normally those of us who were from with the luxurious buses, at that time, Lagos to Casina was just 45 naira. NYSC was giving us 250 naira. It was a lot of money, because Lagos to Casina, as I said, was just 45 naira. On this fateful day, I had left Lagos, not knowing that an armed robber had joined us from Lagos. And we normally preferred the luxury buses because they have police escort. We forgot that we should have put our trust in Allah. We went. And there was no problem until we got to Kano. We dropped some people at Kofaroa. Then we faced the road to Casino. And when we got to Kankia, we saw some policemen from afar. We thought they were policemen, not knowing they were not. Not knowing they were a gang of robbers. They stopped us in police uniform. We all came. So by the time our police escort discovered that something was wrong, he picked his gun. The one in the vehicle he just put a gun by his neck. Instantly the man became gentle. All of us who had put our faith in him, may you never be scared. If you experience terror, you start reciting, you think you are reciting, you are reciting Fatiha. I just knew I was reciting something. I didn't know what I was reciting. I said, calm down. All of us came down. Everybody had. That day, I had only 15 naira in my wallet. It was a good money, so don't think I was poor. I had only 15 naira. And the boys, young men like you, to be said, big boy, now only 15 naira you get. I said, only 15 naira. It asked me to remove my socks. I did. And he took my wallet, checked it again. I didn't know Allah wanted to assist me. Checked it again. Said, I only 15 naira. He just flipped the wallet like this and my NYC ID card fell off. And he picked up the thing and said, hey, you be copper? I said, I'll be copper. And he stopped speaking pidgin English. And he said, we're graduates like you. You know what he did? Instantly, he connected with me. I couldn't talk. I just said, my man, there is no job out there. You never can tell. Probably somewhere someday you're going to join us. I just said, I was like inside me. I couldn't talk. He returned my 50 naira to me. Stopped a car going to Katsina. Asked me to join and gave me 200 naira. You know I couldn't refuse. I just I don't even know. I collected the thing, I just went. I couldn't recover for a long time. Because I had never been so close to death. I had never been so close to death. I thought I was teaching at Riyadh al-Quran, Madam Yakub Musa School. I couldn't go to class because I didn't even know what was happening. I was in which class? So you see, that was the situation. The young men that would have been useful for this nation. Imagine a situation whereby if you leave the university, you finish service and there is no job, there is subsistence allowance for you to collect. Crime will not be so attractive. But it will naturally be attractive when there is no provision for you. You become an enemy of that society. So, in this book proposes that we can also approach the anti-corruption discourse from the angle of now. From the time you brought this thing, okay, let me quickly rush through. So, Islamic leaders in fighting corruption, role of women in eradicating corruption, leadership and accountability as strategies, encouraging accountability and transparency through faith-based interventions, Islamic attitude to political corruption and tribalism, the role of the Pope in fighting. You read all those. Now, let us. How do you unpack the corruption facade? Reflect on the effects of corruption in your society. When you want to discuss anti-corruption struggles or fight in your society, reflect. First try to know in how many ways has corruption affected the society. Strip it of religious and tribal garb. It is omnipresent, it's everywhere. It is not a problem of Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, everybody is corrupt. You see our corrupt leaders, when they come together, they are united by that religion called corruption. They are not, at that time they are stealing. They don't think of their identities as Muslims, Christians, Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo. It is none of their, at that time, something has united them. That is the religion they practice, that's corruption. So, stop, you just do, the Hausas are the problem of this nation. You are just being stupid. You don't want to face the reality. So, strip it of religious or tribal garb. Acknowledge cultural lapses. There are lapses within our culture or our cultures that we should acknowledge and we'll find a way of walking around them. For example, in Yoruba tradition, they say, Sọ̀mílà awílà àfin, a kì í wígbérù mi. Sọ̀mí, help me put this thing down. That's what you say in the palace. You don't say, help me carry this. So when you are coming to the palace, you should bring something to the leader, not that you come and get something from the leader. Look at. What is that? That's enthronement of corruption. Because you always approach the leader with the intention of calling favors from him. These are cultural lapses. We must acknowledge the fact that so many of us have been orientated towards that. So when you are going to meet somebody in a position of authority, you will package things to give him to massage his ego, so that if you want to get something from him unlawfully, he will give you priority. Come and see so many land kings, and you will see how implicated so many of our traditional rulers are. They have themselves disrespected the thrones upon which they are sitting. And they do not forget that it is attached to that traditional value. The Yorubas will say, the hand and the mouth that has eaten fried plantain, that is dodo, will not speak the truth. That is dodo. That is dodo and dodo. So if you have eaten dodo, you will not speak ododo. Ododo is truth. Dodo is fried plantain. So it is this kind of thing. People ignore it when they discuss corruption. Some of these things are culturally passed down. Also acknowledge socio-cultural factors that promote corruption. Some of us believe because my brother is a political office holder, because my friend is a political office holder, he must do something for me personally. So we do not approach them to come and do something for the community. You approach them to do things for you personally. And then it is that orientation that affected some of us when Fashola was the governor of Lagos State. You know, he was a very good governor. Very good governor. I mean, I could argue that he was the best in the country. Because he was very strict. So many things possible. It was possible under him. Or were possible under him. Then, towards the end of his tenure, during his second term, on Christmas Day and New Year, he gave the BRT buses free of charge to the Christians. So wherever they went, if they wanted to go to all of the major churches, they were just taking the people there free of charge to and fro. And we were not pleased, those of us who were Muslims, because we were not given during Eid al-Fitr. And we went to him. I was one of those who went. We went to him. He listened to us. He was smiled. And he asked us, did you request for it? Did you request for it? That's not the main thing, no. Did you request? Okay, we did not request, okay. He invited Christian leaders, asked them, what should we do for you? They asked for something that will affect, that will impact every Christian. We didn't know he had invited our own imams and the rest, and they had asked for Hajj tickets and rams during so for themselves. Now, was he unjust to us? He wasn't. He gave our leaders what they asked, and he gave their own leaders what they asked. You see the difference? And we now start blaming. You can't. I just told her, please, let's go. I said, let's go. Our own leaders sold off. But you see, that's the reason why there is a lot of emphasis on leadership in this material. What distinguishes a leader is not the knowledge. It's not compulsory that the big sheikh among us should be the leader. It is not compulsory that the big sheikh among us should be the leader. No. What stands a leader out is wisdom, the ability to think in line with his vision. Then you will have the wherewithal to use scholars. One of my malams is very much older, is in his 90s. Sheikh Ahmed. I visited him one day in Ibadan. At that time that was in 1992, I was still running my master's program. I visited him at Ibadan, and I was told by his wife that he had gone out for public preaching. I didn't want to go to the venue of the public preaching because I knew he would tie me down. So I just said, help me tell him I came. I ran back to the campus. I'm rounding off already. You see, I told you he was naughty. He's still naughty.
7:10.
Yes. So
that's number 8.
So we got there and I got back to the campus. I didn't know the wife would send someone to him and to tell him, okay, said no problem. And he was going to continue the lecture the following weekend. One of the students of this Arabic school, you know, when these boys in Arabic schools, when they are just learning Arabic, they just ask a question in Arabic. Then you will translate any Arabic document. You know that like that. You will not communicate with you in Arabic. But bring all the tafsirs in the world, you will read and translate. So Baba could not speak Arabic. Baba said, okay, come back next week. The time is fast spent. Let's go next week, bring your question. So during the week, he sent somebody to me. He said, you must attend the next lecture. So when I got there, after he delivered his lecture, he now said, where is the boy who asked the question last week? And the boy said, he came out. He repeated his question. And he said, Baba said, you are not even as old as my son. If your father is here, I can talk to your brother. But today my son is going to answer you. Saidi, Bandado, answer him. I said, answer him. That is wisdom. He knew he couldn't do it. So a wise man is what we need as a leader, not a stupid professor. And there are so many of them. You see, you know now, those developing policies, those developing, one policy produced in the Filiaism. We have some stupid professors defending that policy. It's not about the degrees and certificates. You know the Prophet Ibrahim's alayhi salam's principle of leadership. What did he ask for? Rabbi habli hukman wa al-ikdis bis-salihin. Oh my Lord, grant me wisdom. That's what a leader asks for. And give me a good team. Join me with the righteous. Rabbi habli hukman wa al-ikdis bis-salihin. Waj'alni lisana sidqin fil akhirin. Let me be of good report to those coming behind me. وَاجْعَلْنِي مِنْ وَرَثَةِ جَنَّةِ النَّعِيمِ وَاغْفِرْ لِأَبِي وَكَانُوا. There he says, وَلَا تُخْزِنِي يَوْمَ يُبْعَثُونَ. Do not disgrace me on the day EFCC is coming. Do not disgrace me when the auditors are coming. What is Yawma Yub'athun? The day you will be raised for accountability now. Come and account for your deeds. What is EFCC coming to do? What are the auditors coming to check? Let's see. How have you fared? So, beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, in as much as I would have loved to go to the end of it, this day came late, but alhamdulillah, there is an aspect I was actually going to talk about the 5 W's and H that would assist you in building lectures and how to structure your presentation. Incidentally, that is the Sheikh's responsibility, and we can't get a better deal. May Almighty Allah continue to guide and guide every one of us. And may He continue to illuminate our hearts with His light, that we may acknowledge what is right as right. And may He give us the moral courage to promote it and support it. ربنا عليك توكلنا وإليك أنبنا وإليك المصير. اللهم زينا بزينة القرآن وأكرمنا بكرامة القرآن وشرفنا بشرافة القرآن وألبسنا بخلعة القرآن وأدخلنا الجنة بشفاعة القرآن. ربنا عليك توكلنا وإليك أنبنا وإليك المصير. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت الرحيم وإنك لا تخلف الميعاد. عزة وسلام والحمد لله رب العالمين. صلوا على النبي الكريم.
What did I tell you? Did you confirm what I told you? Let me quickly confirm some of the things he said before I thank him. He said something about, is that what you are talking about? That the Christian was Fashola, but I met Khan of Lagos State chairman. Please don't quote what I want to tell you. I met the chairman of Lagos State. And he said, people don't know that we enjoy as well more than the Muslims.